What's up, everyone? Happy 2026. Welcome back. Hope the new year's treating you all well. This is another episode of Performance Marketing Minds brought to you by Outbrain Direct Response. I'm your host, Joe Addona, and today I've got my man, Nick Shackelford, on the podcast. It was such an awesome conversation. I mean, we are so similar in ways that we didn't even know, and what started off thinking it would be a marketing podcast that I've had questions for a long time for Nick really turned into more about life, legacy, business, finance, parenting, and all kinds of stuff in between. So definitely more of a philosophical type podcast, but super enjoyable. And I'm really grateful to Nick for hopping on and doing this with me. So without further ado, enjoy my conversation with Nick Shackelford. In the beginning of this, you're saying you have your hands full, and you're one of those people that I never know how you have enough time in the day to do everything that you do in general. So that's an interesting place to kind of kick it off and continue that conversation. But Nick, you're probably one of the busiest people I know, as what it seems from the outside looking in. I mean, multiple time founder, angel investor at so many different things. You are currently working at probably 5 or 6 businesses that you've either started or partnered on. You have a kid, and how do you do it all? How do you do it all with so much shit flying around everywhere?
Too, I think sometimes I think I would have to take it back because from the beginning. So when I went to university, the only way I went to university, and I'm 35 now, so like it's been a long time since I've talked university stuff, but it was always you go to school. I was a Division I athlete at Cal, then St. Louis, and then I had to pay my way because we couldn't afford it. So it was like you had to go to school, you had to keep grades, you had to play, train, work out, and you also had to go work. So from very, very early, before you like knew what quote unquote responsibility was, I didn't have a choice. The play was always full. So the overwhelm was always where it needed to be, to where like I think now if I just pretend I'm just in university or in school, this is kind of the same thing. The only difference in this area is like it's tens of millions of dollars. It is hundreds of millions of spend. It is real products that impact real people's lives. So it's like an interesting way of it looks, and trust me, it looks like a lot from the outside. It's a lot from the inside, bro. Like it is so much on the inside, but I don't know if it would have it any way. And I actually think this is an interesting debate because before everybody went work from home, and like work from home gives you like, some people like it, some people don't. But what it really did was like, well, you could kind of measure someone's output and their actual effectiveness of work that they're doing, because now you're going like, well, they're either getting this to me really, really quick, or they're getting to me this not as quick, or it seems like I have to follow this person multiple times. What were they even doing when they're in the office? So like there's these weird things to think through. And we've always been this way. Like myself, the companies around, we've always been remote, except when I was an employee and worked for other ones, I was in person, in office. So I think natively and naturally, it was a lot of things to be done. And I enjoyed doing a lot of things. And where most people have hobbies or things they like to do extracurricular, my hobbies and extracurricular is the shift of business. So it's like you have agency, you have 3 agencies. So you have structured just for the group to understand where we're talking about this. Everything is digital. I have no retail businesses. I have no brick and mortar. Like everything's online. It's ads
or one saving grace. You get one pass.
I'm like niched down, right? We have Structured, which is a full service agency. We have Constant, which is an offshore editing and support. Lucid, which is full service in a specific niche agency. Breeze, which is a beverage. Commerce Roundtable, which is an in-person event. Geek Out, which is an in-person event. And then there's like a number of other projects like I contribute to on various levels. And all of them fall within what I'm best at. And the ones that I'm not best at, the team that supports me or that executes on the daily is good enough to work in a way where my involvement is needed daily, but not as an implementation. So it kind of works. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like the Musk mentality. Everyone's like, how does he have time to do SpaceX and Tesla and all these different things? And he isn't the one doing all the implementation. He's just kind of the guiding light between everything, and he'll put his foot in the ring when he needs to and give guidance and everything. But I feel like it's same as that kind of.
I've never been compared to Musk, and I think I have the levels of I have similar levels of autism. I promise you.
It's a spectrum.
But it's a we all fall on it somewhere. I like to say to my wife. The difference here, I think, is the I enjoyed the overwhelm, and although sometimes it does get a little bit too much, there's balance in like the day-to-day life, because normally life is fine. Like my wife and my kid, Kingsley's 20 months old, right? So you can always there's like a level of overwhelm that just naturally adds to your life, but you can't really control it. You're kind of just existing with it.
Yeah. We just had ours 6 weeks ago. So
I know.
I'm learning the uncontrollable and just kind of like sitting in it, and just being like, this is what it is. But it's funny, take it a step back. I've often posed myself this question because I've had a similar upbringing. I played Division I sport. I paid for it myself, lost my academic money, and had to take out a bigger loan for myself at the end and
Yeah.
pay it back. And I always like, there are times throughout the years that I've spoken to my therapist about this, of just saying, I wonder what life would be like if my parents were really wealthy and I had it set up differently. Like, would I actually be as successful as I am if I had some more cush kind of set up and not feeling overwhelmed at the same time? Because it was very similar. I had a job in college, played the sport, got no help from my parents after school, and had to have, just figure it out. And some of it is that superpower that your parents or your upbringing gave you. But at the same time, you kind of resent it a little bit. And you're like, man, I wish you guys, were a little bit more supportive, not even on the financial side, but just like emotionally and stuff. And I'm like, man, what would life be like? Would it be different? Would I have the same job? Would I do something, that brings me more joy? I don't know. But it's something I think about too. And ultimately I come to, it doesn't even matter anyway. And this just is what it is, and it's been a superpower, I think. And it's also been a more of a stressor at times, but yeah, I think about that a lot.
I'll run with that with you, because I actually resonate with that tremendously. It's like my parents early on split, and that was very real. Like I was 13, 14, so I was like very coming into who I was as a man, as an individual. And I like to say like my dad was an incredible man, but probably could have been a better dad. And so now seeing him, and you'll go through this too, is like seeing him know that, like recognizing him, knowing that what I know of how he was and how he is now as grandpa to my son is a very meta relationship that I'm starting to witness and understand and go through. And I think if it was a cushy way up, if it was, because the thing that you know and I know now is our threshold of overwhelm, to truly feel overwhelmed, is like very high compared to most normal people that are executing or get overwhelmed at certain things. It's hard to relate with other people's overwhelm. You're like, that's overwhelming to you. Like, that's interesting. But because the discipline needed for execution and be an athlete to get any sort of contract, with other school, whether you went SEC, like I went Pac-10 or Pac-12 at the time, to Cal, and then it went into St. Louis, which is A-10. It was always contributing, playing, starting, captain bullshit. But to get to that level, there's a stress that you have to withstand. And so when you take that into business, dude, it's still scoreboard. Like there's still dollars. Like everything is still scoreboard, which is why I always want to be tied to either your generating revenue or your preserving revenue. Like that is where I find myself. I couldn't be in an area where you're like, maybe he's contributing or maybe he's helping. It seems weird, right?
Yeah, no, I went through the same thing because early on in my career, I've been with Outbrain Teeds for 10 years. And I remember there was a point at like 3 or 4 years, and I said, I kind of like the business side of things on the back end and helping problem solve. Let me sit on some operational and product meetings and let me just check it out. And I did it for like a month or two. And I just remember taking a step back and being like, no way, like I need to be
Oh, interesting.
in the front. I need to be in sales, and not even on the account management side, because I started as an account manager, but I like the relationships. I like being tied to revenue, and it's 100% the competitive thing. Like even internally at my own company, because we employ, 1,500 people, there's hundreds of sellers, and I verbatim told them, I want to kick your ass. Like I want my team to outpace you guys 3 times over, and it's friendly. But that's where it comes, I think, from the athletic background and potentially video games too. But
Yeah.
it's very real.
my brother on the video game side, he was a pretty high level League of Legends player. He's a couple years shorter than, or a couple years younger than me, taller than me, so definitely not shorter, younger. And he was a high level League of Legends, and he's in medical device sales. He was like, he's a very mellow, balanced dude. And I'm always like, dude, do you even work? He goes, I work my ass off till I hit that goal, but I chill real hard. And it's interesting because guys that are like, you eat what you kill in the terms of like closing and hunting and onboarding. But as soon as he gets it, he goes like, done. I hit my number. I'm above my number, or like I get it in a time that's most quicker than others. And I do think that's a blessing. I think that the ability to sell, the ability to be in the discomfort of a timeline, or how do you say this? Like, it's very raw, but like you have carcasses that you have to stack. Like we all have this thing. And that is, I like that. I think that's like the natural place to play.
Yeah. And people from my company are probably listening to this, so I won't go into too much detail, but there's been many of Fridays and Thursday afternoons that I've just taken off because it's been, 120%, 150%, and just been like, you know what? I've completely exhausted
Scoreboard.
myself, and I'm going to, and how much more can I do? But also, I also need time to refresh my brain after that. Like you get to a point where there's this blow off top, especially in med device sales and especially video games. It's like, you get to this over exhaustion point and it's not even going to be worth it to you or the company or your clients, like the relationships. It eventually gets backwards in the bell curve as you start going negative again. So yeah, finding that rhythm and balance is that from a sales side, I think that's what makes you a senior salesperson. Like it's not about the pipeline management and the follow-ups and stuff like that, but it's being able to almost like gut check yourself and be able to, I don't know,
Throttle.
throttle and be honest when you are allowed to throttle and not just take the time on like the Tuesday afternoon to go get a coffee for an hour, or something like that. So it's interesting.
Dude, I also think that's, so I'm 35 and because obviously we play, so Breeze will do just over like 40 million this year. We're three-ish years old. Like the D2C side of things, it's like pretty crazy. Year one was like 1 mil. Year two was like 28 mil. This year we'll do 40 plus. And so it's like the trajectory is growth, and like where we probably should have been was like probably 70. That's crazy. That's crazy to say like we should have been 70. And it actually is frustrating. Yeah. Like we're new. We learn forecasting better. Like beverages difficult, subscriptions unique. We play in a gray area. And I sit there and I go like, the ability to just like sit in the discomfort for quite some time in our space of digital marketing, because there's like an understanding of there's like ebbs and flows that you like can't always manufacture accelerated growth in a time where like the market just isn't there for it. Does that make sense? Do you want to reword that?
Reword it for the audience and for me.
You can't, like there's certain seasons of your business and in the market that will accept you to scale or grow aggressively into it because they're ready for it. Like the market's ready for it. The perfect trend is like mushroom coffee couldn't have been as big as it was if there wasn't a market going like, what else? Like maybe I am interested in a coffee alternative. Like it always was just like coffee or energy drink. Like there wasn't a guy that was going like mud water or everyday dose or whatever these things are going to be. Like the market was ready for those things, which is why they are scaling and they're able to officially market towards that. Same thing with hydration. Same thing with our beverage, right? Like we couldn't have accepted the stress or the threshold to go as hard as we can if the market wasn't willing or able to accept it. And so now I base a lot of my projections or a lot of my involvement of projects around culturally macro, like what is happening? What is happening? What is this moment right now? And like, is this something that has, I don't even want to say like generically, it does have large TAM, but is the large TAM accessible in the immediate? Is this going right now? And like, I wonder, put this back to your side. You guys get access to a lot of offers, or you guys have the ability because of how much traffic and how much access to information, data, and products to kind of see cultural movements or things over time. Has there been anything this year, and maybe even if you want to like future cast, because we're towards the end of the year, that you've been like, oh, I didn't really see that trend coming, but now it's here. I'm like, I definitely probably should have seen that trend. And then future cast, where you'd be like, you guys might see some of this new shit happening in 2026.
I love this. And you teed me up for something that I'm passionate about. So
Cool.
I think the one thing that I should have seen that I didn't see is people going back to hard assets in the financial space and the offers that come with them, like gold.
Like gold. Okay.
Yeah, like the gold offers in our world started doing really, really well. And there was a couple agencies that their spend was going up, and I was looking at them and I was like, oh, it's a gold offer. Like, it's pretty interesting. Someone's finally getting it to work. And me being like, I, I, I don't know. It was weird because usually I am so, like, outside of work, I am into understanding the financial markets and the economy and so what's going on. And like, I knew that was going, like, I knew that was a thing. And I knew it was happening. And I knew that we were kind of snapping back because of all the inflation. People want hard assets. China is buying gold. When's it going to come to us? People are selling out Costco. And it was a couple months later where it started to pop off on the marketing side. And I didn't even think anything of it. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, someone's finally getting to work for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like debt relief on native. Nobody can ever get it to work. And maybe that's something to look forward to in the future with because people are in debt. Who knows? But
Yeah.
the gold thing was super surprising to me, although it shouldn't have been. And I don't know. I think as we kind of continue to go down that path, like, there's something going on in the Bitcoin space. Companies buying it, a lot of people buying it, a lot of leverage getting wiped out every single day. And I just feel like in 2026, if this administration does what they said they were going to do, loosen restrictions, allow it to kind of continue. Retail hasn't even been in Bitcoin really this year, a little bit through some of like the, financial advisors and stuff. But once Bank of America, JP Morgan, and all these people start pushing it to their high-end clients and then actual retail, like, all of our friends and family start getting involved, I could see that on the marketing side taking off. Because back in like 2000, whatever it was, 2017, the whole ICO craze, we had to just stop allowing things on because it got too crazy and people were losing money and getting wiped out, and it was insane. I'm on the Bitcoin, not crypto side, but I think that the Bitcoin stuff might be here as gold kind of starts first and then people start to get excited about it. I could be wrong. I hope I'm not. But
yeah, I hope you're not. I am. Okay, that's the gold thing. So I've always been in gold. So we allocate a portion of my investment buying on. I think it's like one of the bullion websites. Like these guys must have the most massive list, and these guys say to me all the time. It's like one of the bullion emails. I always buy like a couple bars every single month, and it's funny because I was like, why am I buying bars? Like, where am I going to do with this? And I've probably been buying for a year. Like I got great price points across this whole way on the way up. And I just started having to buy GLD, right? I'm like in the market for gold. And then I listen to both sides of the spectrum because whether you're for Trump, against Trump, doesn't necessarily matter because we have to make decisions day to day. I'm living in Orange County. So like, I know we usually vote blue, even though like we have pockets of red everywhere. So I have to pay attention to both sides. And I listen to Scott Galloway on some of his podcasts, and I've listened to him for quite a while because he has such a different view take than mine at times. But his view of like men and just like self-wealth and self-growth, plus I like his marketing takes. And a lot of it was like protect or start investing or divesting from America and going to emerging markets. And so I've spent a decent amount of portion of reallocating my like current capital structure or current cash allocation of investment towards Europe, Asia, and the emerging markets in general, like just straight up ETFs. I'm just like, I'm diversifying. I am obviously huge and pro America, but I think you kind of have to because of some of these weird price points. So I think so. That's what I've seen this year and how I've been participating. Secondly, I think this debt relief and credit repair. I think this is going to have a crazy 2026, dude. Oh my god. A close friend, maybe mutual, Anthony Sarandrea.
rings a bell. I don't know him personally.
He exited one of his major. His core thing was debt relief, and his thing was in this area. And I've been asking him a couple questions, and he's like, "Yeah, I think this is going to be 2026, 2027 as credit card continues to climb, and if the layoffs continue to happen, which it always spikes in Q4 anyway. So I don't know how real that is. I think that's a thing. I think that's definitely make money online because it might be a way back. I have had more interest this year. I've had less requests of do the work with me or more teach me how to do my work, which is more like done with you, which than anything, which is very, very new for me.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that did you make a conscious effort to be kind of that expert on LinkedIn that might have got you some of those and people are like, oh, this guy knows his shit. I'm going to reach out to him so he can help tell me what to do? Or I don't know. Was that like, were you trying to go down that route, or was it more so like, were you trying to acquire customers for the agency, or were you just like, you know what, I know a lot. And at this point, I just kind of want to share my knowledge with everybody?
It's a good question. I have like such a macro thought around the content and how it's structured. So when I look at Nick as like, if it's going to be third person, bear with me, I'll land this plane. So if like Nick is a business, or like my holding company, we call ourselves Hold This. And it's like, if we were to hold these businesses or hold this bag or hold this, whatever, like you have structured, which is agency and net services. You have constant, which is creative and paid media. You have Breeze, which my core day to day is retention, subscription, programming. And then you have like all the other things I'm associated with, but it still like revolves around the digital space. And I go, I have enough credibility, enough hands-on, enough context, and enough of a unique perspective and delivery of that perspective that I should make more of this content. I think that's how I approach LinkedIn. That's how I approach Twitter, to the point where like I have systems around how much I post, where I post, when I'm talking. And I think the understanding of these structures specifically of what I want to talk about, how I want to share it, obviously is to the point of I want to talk to people. Because what has this brought me, dude? And it's something that I've probably been super loud to you on this, is the more you can talk and tell people your opinion or your take on things, the more you're going to find alignment with people, and the more you're going to find or no alignment with other individuals, which is even better because now you're not having to waste anybody's time. And so I think I've been doing this since Tim Burr, man. I've been doing this since Facebook media buyer, or like FB ads buyer group, right? So this is 15 years of just talking and yapping into the void. And so I've hoped like today, I think I might literally hit 69,000 followers on Twitter. And I'm like, I can't wait to celebrate that. Right. Like noted. But even here is I was intentional with the messages being shared because of the benefit of partnerships, investments, access, stages, like all the things that really matter. You allowing me to be on this podcast and yap with you, I think that's important. I think we all have to. And also, dude, there's a crazy. Did you see what happened with Liquid Death and recently on Twitter or LinkedIn? Not like in the last week, but like in a month or so. Did you see this? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for the audience of what happened, basically there was like a line on their can of investment, or that they like claimed that they donated to a cause, and that there wasn't like plastic somehow involved in their cans. But like most people know, there's a little bit of a liner on plastic cans or aluminum cans, that there is some plastic involved in this stuff like that. I think that most people don't know that, but when they found that out, um, basically Liquid Death, because he wasn't talking and building from his personal page, he was using the business company page, which, dude, Liquid Death is massive. They are a cultural phenomenon and huge. And so you need to be able to control a narrative, or at least have a ability to tell your side through your voice, no matter what, whether you're an employee, whether you're an owner of a certain thing, and you don't want to drag the brand name through that. So that's also, it's something that's been reinforced for me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I remember seeing it, and I remember seeing it initially, and I was like, "Oh, sometimes this is good." You know, like sometimes when people respond from corporate accounts, and it shows like the people behind the faceless X account, and then it started kind of tail into like him just going off, and
You said, where's this going?
yeah, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I don't know. Okay, I was like, now it's gotten to a point where maybe he should stop talking, or at least have.
And he's talking to a guy that's baiting. Like he's talking to a guy that like is a professional at what he's
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, I know. You can't win on X.
No,
You
yeah,
really
but I
can't.
think that is the importance of like having an opinion in your mouth. And I think even from like a TEED side, from a company perspective, you need to be able to control the narrative. Dude, the growth that I've seen with B2B influencers or B2B content creation has changed from being on the inside of it. I've been a part of like crazy launches of new views. I've been a part of just like getting downloads out there. I've been a part of like mass launches or individual ongoing pieces. And that's real. Like influencer, or like influencer, a weird term, just like a professional speaking about the thing is so important, especially for B2B, because you can see the person in using the tool or why they would use the tool. in the role that you're in currently. And so the close rate's so much higher when the person's like, this makes sense to try. Perfect example. We talked about Apple Oven, right? And at one point, dude, we were running a bag up on these guys. And for me to be like, I'm doing this and this is why, everybody else in my area was like, yeah, it's clearly working. You have clear proof and social credibility. We're going to get on it. And I just knowing that was working. Now you had to keep doing it to get people interested in it, but it is a real thing for you guys and anybody else in the space.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen some either a post from you or something like that that talked about how influencer and affiliate marketing is kind of broken a little bit. And I I want to I think you kind of explained it a little bit, but
Mm.
on the B2B side, a lot of times I feel like there's just no clear message and people are just, posting a post and telling stories. And it got to the point where there's so much virtue signaling on LinkedIn. And I, I've written a lot of satirical posts and then deleted them. They've stayed in my drafts just about this whole situation. But when it works, it is so effective, especially when you have the sweat equity behind it. Like you said, like been around for 15 years. People know when you talk, it's not bullshit. Especially
Yeah.
if you put something behind your name. It's, I don't know. There's even agencies out there that message me, and I'm sure message you, that are like, let me help grow your LinkedIn presence. We can help write these posts for you and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know, like from my side of the coin, I think the podcast is super interesting because I like talking to really fun people and having good conversations and all that.
Yeah.
Selfishly, it's also a form of job security, of like being out in front, making sure that us as a company, we can voice that we do know the best people in the world, but also for me personally to have these conversations. I don't know, like there's a lot that goes into it for me. We're not selling anything yet, but when these conversations happen and there is good nuggets of info, people do buy in. Like I've had a couple people message me about stuff in the past from a couple other episodes and introed that person to the other person. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
It's a
dude,
long-winded way of not even really saying anything, but just
no,
spitballing thoughts.
no, I'll pull that down on that. Like, think about our geek outs or even affiliate worlds or affiliate summit wests and stuff. This is less of a being public, talking to many people, getting impressions on digital, but even if a curated room that you were responsible for or had contribution into it as a sponsor, as like a content contributor, as an invitee, as an invitor, the benefit of doing that so high. And you basically take that same exact mentality of if I can curate the people that I would want to be in a room with, but just kind of expand it a little bit to people online. It's not as important of how much you're saying. It is important of a mixture of like how much you're saying quantity with the level of incredibleness on quality side. But it's so subjective because you'll say messages over and over and over. This is like I'll revisit stuff that I've done weeks and weeks ago or months back. I'm like, that's actually still relevant. Let's update that and redo it. And you just rerun the same exact thing, ultra different to the moment you're in, and it works just as well. And I think the narrative is it's a consistency thing and it's a muscle that people don't have. Here's my routine. So like I have 3 copywriters underneath Nick. They are in charge of like tactical execution day to day, and we have two calls a week that are an hour and a half each. So it's about 3 hours total committed to downloading comments and questions. Their role is to prompt me with things based upon what I've already been creating, as well as other similar people that I have affinity towards. And then from the affinity, it goes towards, is this, how long is this post? Where is this living? Is this a video? Is this a script? Is this a thread? Is this what have it? And like those technical execution elements, I don't need to own, but the message, the content has to be mine with the initial creative, get it fleshed out with team, and then the QC before it goes live. That's how I like to do mine.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are in the same boat. So how did you find, how did you go from realizing I need an actual team rather than me just doing this myself? Was like there a moment in time where you said, okay, this is what I need now?
Volume. So when I realized, so this happened on Structure, this happened at Geek Out, and this happened a little bit of Constant, but not as much recently. And then it really happened at Breeze. Dude, Breeze, bro, we were able to fill like it between myself, Aaron, and a couple other people on the team of introductions, did like a $5 to $6 million friends and family off tweets. Bro, that's crazy. Just 5 to 6 million off of like, hey, this is what we're doing. Like that's actually crazy. employer, like we found a great talent through talking about it and yapping. So I was like, it's working in many areas I did not anticipate. How do I do more of it? And so that volume was, I kind of took the risk, and it took a long time to build with these guys for 2.5 years now. And so it takes a long time for the voice to be understood. And then you miss like just shit. You're like, well, I don't know why I would ever approve this or allow this to go through, but you just kind of prove it or go through it in the process really quickly. This is and will be a thing that everybody has to have in the future, because the volume of AI output, like you think about trends, we briefly talked about like what's going to happen in 2026. I think this is going to be a huge shift of, I've been a part of major SaaS launches or tools like Icon that have people hated and did not like. Arc ads, one we just recently did, the nano banana conversation around how much output of creative can be done. We ourselves offer like AI UGC, like we're already in this area. And I think there's going to be like such a hard rejection of going like, fuck you, don't show me AI. What is this? And like people just going like, this is disgusting. I don't want to deal with this. I think that's going to be a hard revert away, because even to this on LinkedIn and on Twitter, it's still within the professional space that people are talking about the AI usage. Yes, GPT is large in the B2C market, but as you see Anthropic starting to grow, Perplexity growing in the B2B market, the people really talking about usage of this on a daily is us, is the people in tech or in digital marketing. The mass market, mass public is not thinking about how they're going to like maximize my time working at McDonald's with GPT.
Yeah. Archives has been so much better. I remember I was in a conversation when they first started, and seeing that compared to now, it's wild. And I have this weird theory too that it's not really on the same lines as you, but I have a feeling like people almost lean in when they know it's AI because they might be sick of the influencer marketing and people like pushing these products on them and like the really, I don't know, overdone videos and stuff. And maybe there's like this small thing in the back of their head that they can kind of, I mean, we can recognize it because we're in marketing and tech and we can see like, yeah, that's not a real person. Like I can see within 5 seconds, but some people, I don't know. I like the psychology of it just tells me that they're actually into it not being real, and it might actually make them more comfortable. It's like on the AI voice conversation. I help a company called Vita, who does AI voice and text, and they do super well on the Medicare side, have an answering service forwarded along. And one of their clients was saying, we gave the AI a persona, we tell it it's AI in the beginning, and people are sharing health information that they are not sharing with real people, you know, because they
Whoa.
know it's just a computer and they know they're not going to be judged if they're saying I'm 100 pounds overweight, like I have this weird rash in my underwear or something crazy, like, and they know that it's because it's AI, they're opening up more. And
Whoa.
it's so I don't know. I think there's like this thing going on as well.
Dude, okay. Dude, it's almost like the internet. It's funny because today, literally, I logged into it this morning. Apparently, Kathy Wood like reshared AI slop, and everybody, and she ended up having to delete it. I haven't been able to find it, but I know someone took some screenshots of this. But she got roasted alive, and like, Kathy, you do know this is AI slop, and the whole thread was going off of her. And this is, and arguably, this is one of the women, and just like rather not just women, but like one of these individuals that are so forefront of tech because of how her portfolio is split, that I was shook. And she's not that much older than everybody, and she should be aware of what the heck's going on. But even to like you mentioned, I find out that the relationship building from the AI side, I do more back and forth with GPT, or right now I'm spending a lot in Claude because I can get the speed, or I can get them to feed me the information that I want because it works best for my thinking. But I'm preferring working with this than real humans, because despite me telling the real humans, make sure can you feed me the information back to me this way, because it's the fastest for me to give you information back to you to make sure you do your job better. I'm finding it quicker to operate this way. So like, and is it possible to have an agentic structure and people that are just executing for you? Yeah, I think we'll see some multi-million-dollar businesses and brands build off of like agentic flows. It's inevitable. But is it fulfilling? I think that's the next question of, yes, I think it can be done. Yes, I think there's going to be a younger population, whether it's the the young hustlers in emerging markets that are watching all of us on YouTube that are trying to figure out what's happening, and they can revert it their own way. Or there's the new generation that they're like, all they know are screens, and all they're going to know is agentics workflow, that it's just the next thing. I don't know. Talk about,
Yeah.
how do you, like, you have a young child. I have a very young boy as well. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's going to college. I don't know if he's going to high school, dude.
Yeah. I've told my wife that he's not. I don't think he is. I think that, I mean, did you see the recent report that came out where it was like, job seekers now, a high school degree and a college degree have the same chance at applying and getting the job. So there's a
Fuck,
big study
dude.
done, and they're basically saying like, well, why does a college degree matter anymore? And it's already, it's already kind of that way. So just imagine, I mean, dude, your kids can have a phone when they're 8, 10 years old now, probably, and they're going to be
Eight.
talking to this thing, and they're going to be learning information at 10 times the speed that we did, and they're going to be able to. And one of the cooler things I think is I have a little self-hosted server at home, and you can self-host your own AI, and so that way you're not like sharing it with the big greedy corporations and all that stuff. But
I'm gonna ask you more. I'm gonna ask you more about that offline. That's cool.
yeah, and but one of the coolest things you can do is when you have children, you can kind of like give it guardrails, and you can make sure it stays in line with. You don't want to
Search parameters. Yeah, yeah.
kid, but yeah, like brand safety in our world, like these parameters that allow your kid to still explore, but also stay within these guardrails. And I don't know, dude. Like I also think about this way, you, me, like we know all these people in this space and marketing and investing and, you name it. Our friends have jobs in all these different industries. Who's to say like your kid's going to grow up and be 16 and you're going to have a buddy and he's interested in, I don't even know, finance or music. And you have a buddy that's high up at Live Nation or JP Morgan. And you're like, hey, Jason, my son, he's really interested in this. You take him under the wing for the summer, and then he's got a job. And then after that, he's got a full-time job at like 16. I think that's the way it's going to go personally, but I could be wrong.
I also love that too, dude, because it almost pulls you fully back towards foremanship, or my dad was blue collar, my mom is blue collar, and they like, it's pure mentor menteeship. And I find the value, like, so guys like people in our age that are like have truly won, or they're currently winning, and they're happy, they're fulfilled, and they've like done the work and understand the contextual information. It's really hard to get that very fast. So I think the benefit of consulting, or the benefit of someone that's like been there, kind of done that, that can give you real time information that's actually rooted in execution that's already happened. And then your ability to be like, I can kind of speed through that learning or apply that context to how I'm doing my day to day. You need this OG realness, as well as this new gen young buck energy of like, I can figure this out very, very fast. And it's like a nice relationship across the two. And I think that's why the next gen is going to have such a better chance of what they want to do. Like, hopefully they can be more, because sometimes people just choose to go to college. I might have been the same way. You probably the same way. Is like, I didn't really have another option. I could have went professional. We did go professional eventually, but I needed that stepping stone to get there. And so that to me is, the kids might find their interest quicker because they're going to be fed the things that us, ultimately the father, mother, household, and eventually them are going to self-select into. So their path choice could be quicker, which would be beautiful. Because what if you knew what you wanted already at 15, 16, 17? Dude,
Yeah.
you don't got to waste 20 to 30 to figure it out.
I know the gap year no longer exists. I went to college for lacrosse because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get into college if I didn't play a sport, so I had to go. But
Fair.
and back then, shit, like sound too old, but like you needed a college degree to get a job, and I wanted to go to New York, and I went to work in New York. But I just think about, I completely agree, because in New York, I went to St. John's Catholic University. I'm sitting there taking 3 theology courses and getting taught economics by a guy that can't communicate well. And like, and you just sit there for 4 years and you're like, okay, I guess I'm in marketing, and I guess like that's what I'm going to do, So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a trip.
I don't even want to take it here, but I might. St. John's, I finished at SLU, St. Louis University. So I finished in a Jesuit upbringing too. It was always private, public, and then finish it private. Even to this day, it's like our tie, like my wife or my son, like I'm a man of faith that believe in faith, but I'm not like a day-to-day practice or a church on
Yeah.
Sundays kind of guy.
Same.
I'm even considering like, what does he do? Like, do we bring that into the household? Do we tell him that we do have belief or movement? Um, that's a very interesting topic I'm going through.
I mean, did you grow up going to church?
Oh yeah, Catholic, strict
Yeah,
Catholic.
same here. Um, God, this conversation can go a crazy way right now. But that, yeah, growing up like that was nuts, and the like not having a choice. I remember
Yeah,
because I played football for the church too, and you had to go until eighth grade. I went to CCD because I went to public school, but I went to church, and I
yeah,
just remember now I'm more interested in it because I can like step back and kind of understand the teachings and the stories and why things are being said certain way. But back then I remember I would be like looking at my uncle during one of the prayers, and he would just have his thumbs in his eyes saying a prayer, and I would just like do the same thing. I didn't know what was going on. And then you talk about confession and the guilt laden kind of
yes, dude.
thing that happens in the Catholic Church. It's really interesting. And again, I think that it's almost, if I didn't have that, I don't know if I would still operate the same way today. So I look at it and I'm like, man, I'm kind of glad it happened, but what a weird way to experience your like 8 to 16 years old. Um,
Yes,
I don't
yes,
know.
dude. I do know, and then even expand them more. So we like there's like the discipline of execution of sport, and then there's the discipline execution of church or just belief, and then you have the imp impact that the house or your immediate family has on you. And so I'm thinking about all these like structures of how I believe I would want to be a father, while how I want to be a man, and then how I want to be a man in business. It's how I want to be a husband. It has been the craziest. I think this might have been this specific year because of all the change and challenges I've gone through. But I've actually just looked at how do I want to approach these? What do I believe in? Do I not believe in this anymore? And I think you have to kind of do a self audit across the board, especially when you start bringing in a little dude in your life, because you're going, oh shit, he has to be led. Versus like if I had a daughter, maybe my viewpoint would have been more of she needs to be loved and like whatever she needs to do, she only should feel loved. But then with him, even at 20 months, we're already challenging each other. Like he's already showing these signs. Like you're not gonna hit this just yet, but you will. There'll be a moment, a literal moment where he like gets you, he like look at you and you go, oh, you know what you're doing. Like you know me and our relationship is this now. Like you see
Yeah.
this thing, it hits you, it's so heavy, and you go, here we go. And then you're like, dad's in, like you're in with the dad. Like you're like, this is the role that I have to do for him. These are things that we're going to be increasing. How am I agreeing? Like we have one, and this is this crazy turn of events, this fucking conversation with you. Um
I'm
uh
naming this like a philosopher's stone. I don't even know. Something about
I
philosophy.
don't
It's not even marketing.
okay, so we go into I mean it comes back to marketing because I'm trying to indoctrinate him in a way where it's for what we believe is to be the best based upon our experience of growth, and I'm trying to market a really incredible life, hopefully. Um, so like we have it down to thought when one of us leaves or comes home, we over exaggerate the excitement and the love for our partner unless it's nighttime when someone comes back from like the gym or like pickleball or something like that and they're already asleep, and then we don't do it there. But when daddy's leaving, daddy's going to work, or mommy's going, she's going to friend, like they will be back, like over exaggeration because I want that feeling of I see them leave. I'm okay. I'm in this house. I'm with my other person. It works with grandparents. We make sure that that hand up is big. And then anytime one of us comes home, we make sure it's like a family hug and kiss and greet. And it's been very interesting to see how knowing that he sees us interact with each other. And it's very hard, but you have to be intentional about it.
Yeah. My wife's a therapist, and she's a couples therapist, and a lot of there's
Oh my
obviously a lot of
gosh.
conversations about children and relationships, and it's awesome to be married to a therapist, but it's also really tough.
Yeah.
But the the way we talk about modeling behaviors to him, to our son, it's still early for it, but even still, like, thinking about it, and just like you said, like, how do we want to be perceived in our relationship, and how do we want to be perceived when we're stressed, or like handling uncomfortable conversations, or the dog threw up on the rug? Like, how do we want to, I don't know, like, manage that emotional spectrum of things for your kid? So 100%, we're already thinking about it. I mean, good thing for us, we do the greeting and the goodbyes with our dog. I've been practicing that for 4 years, so I'm just gonna roll it into the kid. So I appreciate
so true. I love that, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, we've been talking for a while. I know you've had a very eventful day and probably a busy afternoon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can do this again at any point, but anything else you want to leave people with? I thought it was an awesome conversation, very unique one.
Crazy conversation. I
Super appreciate being here. I mean, it's awesome.
I'm super optimistic. I think 2025 was a really. I have a lot of. It's weird. I have a lot of friends that did really well. I have a lot of friends that did not do well, and I have a lot of friends that are like, I can't wait for 2026. And I kind of find myself in between. Like, I think parts of my life were incredible. Parts of my life are very hopeful of what's going to happen, and the parts of my life I'm going like, I'm glad that happened and it's behind us. And so I think, based upon like just an anecdotal gut check of my immediate circle, I feel like maybe a lot of people feel and fall in that way. But the overall theme and feeling is still optimism for 26. And that's cool. Like, that's sometimes it couldn't have been that way. Like, it could have been, oh man, it's really gonna be tough. Like another one. Like, I don't find that. I don't feel that. And I want to leave that with people too. And I hope you feel the same.
Yeah. I mean, it has been a tough year for our business and so many things happening, but I look at next year and going through all of this 2026 planning at work and just thinking about strategy, and I don't even know, just the world in general. I do think we're in for a positive one. You know, I think things are going to snap back a little bit and hopefully be a little bit easier on people's minds and wallets and all that kind of stuff. So I agree. Cool. But yeah, man, thank you again for spending it out with me. It was awesome.
No worries. Have a great day, guys.
Yep.